Okay, so when we think about our classrooms, right, we're so laser focused on test scores, on academic achievement. But what if the single most important ingredient for success is something we're not even measuring? Well, today we're going to dive into a topic that is absolutely reshaping modern education: how we can practically and effectively cultivate compassion right where our students learn.
Yeah, let's start right here because this really gets to the heart of it all. Think about it. We pour so much energy into curriculum and assessments, but what if the most vital skill we can teach our kids, the ability to actually connect with and understand other people? What if that's something you just can't grade on a bubble sheet?
So first things first, let's get crystal clear on what we're even talking about when we say empathy, because it's so much more than just being nice. It's an active, cognitive skill. It's the ability to actually understand and share another person's feelings and perspective. And honestly, this skill, it's the foundation for everything else we're going to explore today.
Okay, so you might be wondering, why the big focus on empathy all of a sudden? Well, it's because the thinking around this has shifted dramatically. For the longest time, empathy was seen as this kind of soft skill, right? A nice to have. But that's over. Now it's recognized as a vital, absolutely non-negotiable part of a complete education.
So why bother making this a priority? Well, because the benefits are they're so tangible and profound. For starters, empathy actually enhances learning. It cuts down on conflict and boosts collaboration. Plus, it prepares our students for this complex, interconnected world we live in where, let's be honest, understanding different perspectives is basically a superpower. And maybe most important of all, it fosters a safe, inclusive environment where every single student feels seen, heard, and truly valued.
All right, so where do we even begin with all this? The first, and honestly the most powerful strategy, is realizing that it all starts with you, the teacher. You can't just teach empathy from a book. You have to live it.
It's true. The cornerstone of teaching empathy really is you. Your students are always watching. And believe me, they learn far more from how you respond to stress or to a conflict or even just a simple question than they ever will from a worksheet. Your actions, your words, your patience, all of it. That's what sets the emotional tone for the entire classroom.
And here is a perfect, really concrete example of what this looks like in action. So, a student hands in a late assignment. The typical response? It's punitive, right? It's about punishment. But the empathetic response is to see the person, the student, behind that late assignment. Just look at this shift in language. It models compassion. It opens a door for connection and for actually solving the problem, instead of just shutting that door with discipline.
Now, of course, empathy isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. A 4-year-old and a 14-year-old, they process emotions in completely different ways. And that means our approach has to be really thoughtfully tailored to whatever developmental stage they're in.
So if you look here, you can see the split. For the younger kids, it's all about concrete stuff. We're talking about naming feelings like frustrated or excited. We're using stories to see emotions play out, and we're focusing on things we can actually see. But as they get older and mature, we can start to shift our focus to building cognitive empathy, which is really that intellectual ability to analyze someone else's perspective using complex discussions and critical thinking.
So, for our younger learners, what does this actually look like in the classroom day to day? Well, picture books are a fantastic entry point for exploring a character's feelings. From there, you could role-play a really common conflict, like sharing a toy. This gives them a safe space to practice how to respond. And something as simple as establishing a feelings corner can do wonders. It just normalizes talking about emotions and makes it a regular part of their world.
Okay, and for our older students, we basically level up the complexity. You can throw out these complex moral dilemmas, real or fictional, and just spark these deep analytical debates. You know what's a really powerful exercise? Ask a student to argue for a viewpoint that they completely disagree with. It forces them to really inhabit another perspective. And of course, literature. It is an absolute goldmine for this stuff. Just digging into why a character made the choice they did. That's pure empathy practice.
Okay, this next part, this is where it gets really exciting, I think. Empathy doesn't have to be just another subject you have to cram into an already packed day. Instead, think of it like a lens we can apply to every single subject we already teach, weaving it right into the fabric of the curriculum. So let's take history. Instead of just memorizing dates and names, what if we frame it as an act of imaginative immersion? We can ask our students, what was it actually like to be a soldier in the trenches? What did it feel like to be a suffragette marching for the right to vote? We're literally challenging them to step into the historical shoes of people from the past.
Or how about geography? When we study different cultures or big global issues like resource scarcity, that becomes a direct pathway to building global empathy. It helps students really grasp the vastly different lived experiences that people have all over the world, and that in turn fosters this profound sense of shared humanity and shared responsibility. And even religious education, it can be transformed into this profound exercise in cultural empathy. I mean, the goal isn't to convert anyone, obviously. The goal is to understand why certain beliefs and practices are so deeply meaningful to other people. It's about respectfully trying to see the world through a completely different worldview.
Okay, so we've woven empathy into our subjects. That's great. But how does this actually change the day-to-day life of the school? Well, this is where empathy goes from being just a concept to being a really practical tool that can totally transform classroom management.
Think about the traditional way we handle things. When a student acts out, this is the question every teacher asks, right? How do I stop the behavior? It's completely reactive. It's focused only on the symptom, the disruption. The goal is just to make it stop, now.
But an empathetic approach completely reframes that question. Instead, we ask this: what is this behavior communicating? And boom, suddenly the action isn't just something to be punished. It's a signal. It's a clue that points to an unmet need or an emotional struggle or a skill that just hasn't been developed yet. This shift it's transformative. It moves us from just policing our students to actually problem-solving with them.
Okay, so let's bring this all together into a nice practical toolkit for you. Number 1, it all starts with you. You have to model the empathy you want to see. Number 2, tailor your approach. Remember, it's different for younger and older students. 3, integrate empathy into every single subject you're already teaching. And finally, number 4, reframe how you see behavior. It's not a problem, it's a form of communication. And I really want to leave you with this final thought. Look, this isn't about overhauling everything you do overnight. Not at all. It's about small, consistent actions. So my question for you is this: what is one small change you can make tomorrow? Maybe it's in the way you greet a student or how you frame a question in your history class. What's one small thing you can do that will start building a more empathetic classroom? Because that one small step, it really could make all the difference.